Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report, man. Appreciate y'all tuning in again. Make sure you check out blackfoxnews.com/shop. The link is in the Black Fox News Instagram bio, but you can also type it into the URL. You know what I'm saying? We got different merch and clothing in different colors, shapes, and sizes. Match anything on your person, you know what I mean? Make sure you check that out. Support us as we continue to support y'all. Now over onto this news over in Israel. So this is the fourth national election that they had where they didn't have a clear out winner, right? And in the past, haven't even been able to form coalition governments. Well, not today. Benjamin Netanyahu's 12-year reign as prime minister is officially coming to an end because his opponents agreed to a coalition government, a power sharing agreement where you have ultra-nationalist Naftali Bennett that's going to be serve as the prime minister for the first 2 years starting today, and then you have Yair Lapid who's going to serve the last 2 years. It's not even clear that their coalition government is going to last that long. However, you have in this new government also a small party of Palestinian citizens of Israel called the United Arab List. You got Netanyahu trying to throw dirt on the whole situation, saying this is a new dangerous left-wing government. So that show you where he stand, but he might just be talking that shit because the reality is Naftali Bennett used to actually be a senior aide under Netanyahu back in 2006. Bennett is actually a tech multi-millionaire who is considered ultra-nationalist because he's definitely anti-Palestine, having its own state. He's for annexing Palestinian land. So he's against the two-state solution. Is compared Palestinian citizens of Israel to a fifth column. And he actually led a settler movement into Palestinian occupied land to get Israelis to settle in there. So, you might not see anything new for him. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So you had the head of the International Committee for the Red Cross, the ICRC, that is, Director General Robert Mardini, actually touring the Gaza Strip yesterday, basically looking at the results of that 11-day assault by Israel on Palestine, and including the road where he was at, where there were 42 people killed during a bomb campaign. And he was basically saying how it's heartbreaking that you had people that paid the ultimate price for this, like women, children, civilians living safely in their own homes, and then falling in this rubble that you see here standing behind me. And this is what he's basically saying to the camera while he's surrounded by what you might just mistake as just random debris or rubble or whatever, but it's rubble, pardon me, but it's no, people died, and women, children, and civilians. Keep in mind that Israel took the lives of 256 Palestinians, with included 66 children, and in reverse, rockets from Hamas actually killed 12 civilians in Israel, including 2 children. So you see the lopsidedness in the score. Greenville and graduation though. Report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. And I gotta let y'all know about this New World Order shit right here. So you got the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, you got the World Bank, the World Trade Organization, and the World Health Organization coming together to actually form a $50 billion plan on increasing vaccine access globally, as well as bringing an end to the pandemic. So you have the heads of these organizations that actually noted that, out of the low income countries of the world have actually received less than 1% of all vaccines administered. And also further said, how you have, the affluent countries that are now even discussing their booster shots for their public, where you have the developing countries, many of the people of these countries, and even the frontline workers who haven't even received a single dose. Now, I will say this from experience: some of these developing countries, they just don't trust y'all motherfuckers that's making the vaccine. They don't trust y'all white motherfuckers. They don't trust y'all, capitalist motherfuckers. Everybody trying to keep up with the Joneses and or this country and that country, but they ain't trusting that. But furthermore, the International Labor Organization actually noted that 100 million people were actually pushed into poverty during last year's pandemic, with 144 million jobs lost in 2020. Green War and graduation. This report of the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So President of the United States, Joe Biden, is actually up in the ante to get 70% of Americans vaccinated against COVID-19 by July 4th. And he's doing so by offering big incentives. First off, he's partnering apparently with 1,000 barbershops and beauty salons in black communities across the country to promote vaccine education and to administer vaccines where it's possible. He's also offering incentives like, he's talking about sporting tickets and free childcare and even beer. He said Anheuser-Busch said that on the 4th of July that the beer's on them. Free beer, that's right, free beer for anybody who gets a shot and to celebrate the independence from the virus. I'm paraphrasing, but it's like kind of, eerie to hear that. Also, you got places like West Virginia, they're offering like lottery tickets and 4-year scholarships, rifles and handguns to people who get the vax. Meanwhile, the daily caseload in the U.S. has dropped under 20,000, and you got hospitals all across the country saying that nearly all of the people who are coming into these hospitals for COVID are unvaccinated. Green War on graduation. This report out of the New World, the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, a Florida man has actually been convicted for his partaking in the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Paul Hodgkins, white dude who actually was carrying a Trump flag when he actually broke into the Senate chambers. He's actually was pled guilty to 1 felony count and is facing a maximum sentence of 21 months along with thousands of dollars in fines. So for all y'all MAGA motherfuckers, y'all need to get low just like these PPE loan motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know. But also you got Trump, who I guess doesn't mind continuing to gaslight his followers or whatever, saying that he will actually be reinstated as president by August. He also has shut down his blog after just 29 days due to like low readership. But I don't know, we'll see. Maybe he got another trick up his sleeve. Green War and graduation might be a coup. Report out of the New World, the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So you still got calls coming up for Democrats to end the filibuster process in Congress, which is basically when politicians will take longer time than they're allowed on the Senate floor to essentially hold off votes and let them die out that way. And that's what's seeming to happen by Republicans who are going against these, or who are supporting these voter suppression bills and who are going against voter protection bills. So you also have President Biden. He's calling for the passage of the For the People Act and the John Lewis, rest in peace, John Lewis Voting Rights Act. So we'll see what comes out. You had Senator Barbara Lee that was saying, it's either we uphold the filibuster or uphold democracy. But you have other Democratic senators who feel differently. They feel like it's actually a tool for democracy. And we'll see how this turns out. It seems like the Republicans is abusing the shit out of it right now. The Green War and graduation. Report out of the New World, the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So international pressure is actually building up to get Ethiopia to call a ceasefire and allow for aid to be given to the people in the northern Tigray region. Now, the United Nations is saying that 90% of the people in that area are actually in need of emergency food aid. Now, there's been a lot of warring that's been going on between the Tigray region and the national government since in November of 2020. And as the news came over to the Western Hemisphere, it sounded like it was the local government in Tigray and that militia that actually set it off on the national army, like in the Tigray region. But fighting, of course, on that level always gets deeper. But nevertheless, there's been reports of indiscriminate killings and sexual abuse. Even a report that was released earlier this week talking about how on May 8th, Eritrean soldiers went into the Tigray region, killing 19 civilians, mostly children and women, indiscriminately. Green War and graduation, though. Report out of the New World, the Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News reports. Now, the Sri Lanka environmental disaster that I told y'all about yesterday, which actually consists of there being a boat that's been sinking since May 20th with a bunch of toxic chemical plastic debris sinking onto the ocean or the coastlines or whatever. Even that was expected to actually reach the other side of the island and sank on the west coast, is expected to reach the east coast and all of that. Well, now the officials in Sri Lanka are actually preparing for it to get worse because there's a stricken cargo ship that began sinking in the Indian Ocean that actually has tons of chemicals on it. Actually, it's estimated that there's 350 metric tons of oil in the cargo ship's fuel tanks that's actually spilling into the ocean and it's going to affect Sri Lanka. I mean, earlier this week, they already suspended fishing for a 50-mile stretch on the coastline, killing the fishing industry in the country. Green War on Graduation. Streets reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, on Wednesday in Iran, Iran's largest naval vessel actually caught fire and sank in the Gulf of Oman. Now, state media actually reported that there were 33 injuries out of all 400 sailors who obviously had to evacuate. It just sank right in the waters. Now, hours later from that, you had a crazy fire that went on at a state-owned petrochemical plant that's like right outside of Tehran being Iran's capital. So it's not clear what caused the fires, which has people suspecting that this was sabotage coming from, you guessed it, Israel. You know what I'm saying? Now, at the same time, there's a European Union envoy to Iran that's actually saying that the Iran nuclear deal from 2015 is actually being close to being reinstated, and they're coming to an agreement, should be coming to one by next week. Now, this was actually a go in 2015, but in 2018, Trump took the U.S. out of it and threw the deal off or whatever, and this is an agreement that Israel opposes. Green War on Graduation, though. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, over in Nicaragua, you have Cristiana Chamorro, who actually is running for president against current president Daniel Ortega for the November elections, actually being arrested and had money laundering charges filed against her. So people feel like that's an attempt to just essentially block the opposition. Now keep in mind, Chamorro, she's actually the daughter of former president Violeta Barrios de Chamorro, who herself back in 1990 had actually defeated Daniel Ortega to become the president. So I actually thought Ortega was a good dude because he wasn't with that third party country rule stuff that Trump was trying to do with Nicaragua and all of that, whatever. At least it seemed like it. However, back in 2018, people were calling for him to step down due to the fact that to step down from his political seat and actually release political prisoners. And rights groups say that pro-government militia and police actually cracked down, killed hundreds of civilians in those protests. And Ortega's under fire for not putting in measures to protect people from the pandemic. We'll see how this turns out, though. Green War on Graduation. Reporter of the New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. Now, The Guardian, shout out to them, very reputable news site. They actually reported that they found that the British royal family had a rule since at least 1960, or up until at least 1960, where they wouldn't allow for the hiring of people of color or foreigners for roles other than for domestic work. So that's disenfranchisement for generations, way more generations after they finished slavery, by the way. But also Buckingham Palace apparently had negotiated a deal with British law to get an exemption from discrimination laws. So, you know, and the palace, they still dealing with all of that backlash from that Oprah Winfrey interview with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, where they talked about how there was somebody in the family that expressed concern about them having a baby of color. And I'm just still like, and you know, she talked about the mental health issues, Meghan Markle, that is. I'm just like, it's newsworthy, but why the fuck are people surprised? Huh? Green War on Graduation. The New World Order, Bishop Grady, letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Fox News report. So, in Texas, the Republican governor, Greg Abbott, is attempting to revoke the licenses of all state child care facilities that are housing minors who are seeking asylum and unaccompanied. Meaning that they cross the border without their parents and are trying to find a place to live in the United States, or whatever, trying to become citizens. Now, if this is successful, these children will be forced to go to facilities run by Customs and Border Protection and unlicensed temporary facilities, which are already overcrowded with children and don't really have enough space to house them, let alone to properly take care of them. Now, you have the Department of Health and Human Services making a statement saying that they don't intend to close any facilities down due to Abbott's order. And then you got Julian Castro saying that this is, you know, he's tweeted that this is a political tantrum at the expense of children. Castro being former San Antonio mayor and the secretary of the Housing and Urban Development, and tried to run for president last year, but you know. So we'll see how this all turns out. Green War on graduation. For the other New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. You know, I'm gonna tighten up for a second. But over in California, Gavin Newsom, the governor, he actually has granted 14 pardons, 13 commutations, and 8 medical reprieves. Now, of the pardons, he gave 2 of them to Kale Se Lee and Bounchin Keola. Now, these are 2 men who were actually brought here as children from Laos, and actually both were incarcerated for crimes they committed as teenagers. Keola having committed a crime at the age of 16, served over 2 decades in prison, and he was actually fighting fires during, the record-setting wildfires that happened in Cali last year, and suffered a near-fatal injury. So he's been granted a pardon, reunited with his family, and the same thing for Se Lee, who committed a crime and had served 22 years and was awaiting deportation last year, but then became a firefighter, and now he got his peace. Hopefully that happens to more people in jail. Green War on graduation. Report out the New World Order, Bishop Grady letting y'all know what the fuck going on for this Black Files News report. I'm gonna take this post to actually shout out Paxton Smith. This is the valedictorian of Lake High School in Dallas, Texas, who gave was supposed to give the pre-approved commencement speech on during her graduation on Sunday, but instead actually went and gave an impassioned speech addressing Texas's, what could be said is like Texas's assault on reproductive rights. You know, that bill last week that the governor, Greg Abbott, had signed, which is basically a heartbeat bill, saying that under no circumstances will you be able to get an abortion once the heartbeat is detected. That happens about like 6 weeks, when a lot of women don't even know they pregnant. You know what I mean? It's very possible you don't even know you're pregnant at 6 weeks of pregnancy. So there's a conflict there, and she was basically saying how, she has hopes and dreams and aspirations, and all the girls that they do and they work towards them, but without their input or consent, those control over her future has actually been taken away. She's terrified that if her contraceptions fail, or if she's raped, that she will no longer have control over her future. You know what I'm saying? Think about how gut-wrenching that is, to have your autonomy over your own body taken away. So I definitely think it's something for y'all so-called pro-life motherfuckers to think about. How you pro-life and you pro-war at the same time anyway? Green War on graduation though.
I have never promised anything about blood.